Good morning, everybody. Thanks so much for joining us here at Q School. Happy Tuesday. I am Maura McGinnis. I am the Northeast Regional Manager for QTran, located in Milford, Connecticut. And I am presenting today with my colleague, Doug Payne, located in St. Louis, Missouri.
Good morning, everybody. Hi.
Good morning. So again, we respect your time. Thank you for joining us. We know you spend a lot of time in front of the computer these days. So let's go again to the internet, which you spent some time there. Here is our website. So as a reminder, the QTran LED logo always gets you to the home page. In the banner, you can see products, technical gallery, things like that. So we're going to focus on products. And there's all our product categories. Today, we're going to talk about extrusions and accessories. So selecting extrusions, you can find that on every product category, we have a filter on the left side. For us on this category, it's really just our classifications. All of our extrusions are shown. When you hover over, you can see that we change to the dimensions. But let's select the torque since we're there. This is one of our most popular extrusions. You can see there's a description, there's all the data, quick tabs, and as you move your way through the page, you'll find some technical information, some compatibility with LEDs, the downloads associated with the product, and some videos. There's Doug again. There he is, with no facial hair. So we always recommend when you select any of our products, you go to our ordering guide. That's the most complete information for any product. It's a 5-page document. It gets into the details. The first page is always how to order, how to write your part number, which we'll talk about, your finish options, your mounting options, dimensions, lens options. The torque has actually the most options. And then as you go through the 5 pages, you're going to find install details. These are just helpful when you're specifying to have a little bit of extra information, associated mounting, different lenses, which wires go with which, how does it look when you build it. So it's just extra. There's another compatibility chart. So we're going to talk about that, but there's a mounting, some installations. This is also in the associated downloads on the web page. So let's go back to the web page and go to our accessories category. Accessories, there's a lot of Q-Vault, Q-Set, strip and installation kits, our pivot bracket we're going to talk about, our DMX sticks, our Mini J, and some other things. These are easy to see kind of quickly by what you're looking for. And with that, let's just jump right into extrusions and accessories. So if we can jump to the PowerPoint and jump to Doug in St. Louis, we're going to go back and forth. I have a lot of samples here in front of me in Milford, but Doug's going to talk through the details as we go. And with that, anything you want to add, Doug, to the website?
No, I think you covered it really well, Maura. Thank you very much. So today we're going to talk about our 14 unique extrusions and profiles, as well as what type of LEDs work with them. We're going to show you a few tricks, a few new things, and we're going to talk about our exclusive accessories and those options. So moving on, we have 3 extrusion finishes: satin, black, and bronze. And with the 3 different extrusions, we have 4 primary lens options: clear, frosted, polar, and diffuse. If it's not available with a particular extrusion, it will not be on the cut sheet, the spec sheet, or the ordering guide. As we look at the different lenses, you have the different finishes there, Maura, is that correct? Okay, so in Maura's left hand with the 4 lens options: clear, frosted, polar, and diffuse. And as you can also see from the slide, clear is the most or the least diffused of the options, and diffused is the most diffused, and will yield the most diode-free direct view results, which will also be noted on the spec sheets if that is a good result for you. You will find terrific diode-free direct view results, especially with the 1-inch cut point SW24 1.5 watt through 5 watt LED. When we also talk about finishes and lens options, beneath the lens options and also on the upper right, we talk about encapsulating our rigid extrusions, and there's 5 options for that: Fleur, Lato, Torque, Lalo, and Talo, that we can use the same polyurethane and same Q-cap machines that we make our flexible Q-cap products with, and make a perfect wet-rated rigid product where no worries about dust, dirt, bugs, or condensation getting behind a lens, or potentially a lens even cracking.
I have an
Thank you.
encapsulated Torque in my hand. This is encapsulated and clear. As Doug mentioned, this is a great option for a wet location. But remember, the IP rating comes from the LED itself, not the extrusions. So this happens to be fully filled with the polyurethane and makes a great option for stonework, pavers, places where you might crack a lens. But it is a wet rating, but the rating comes from our LED tape, not our extrusions.
Fantastic. You can break these 14 profiles down into 4 distinct groups. Standard profiles, which are all surface mount like most of these, but the clips are visible. Our special mounting profiles were Telo and TRE3, which have hidden mounting clips, or T-bar clips, Vega grazing extrusion, and our round extrusion, which has fins and can be angled. Then we have our flanged or recessed extrusions, the Lato and Fleur, and of course the mud-in product, MDIN, and our 45-degree channels, Arcatella and VV. And as we step through the next 3 slides, we'll see more details. However, this is a really nice 2 application shots of the TRE3 product installed on T-bar. Maura, would you like to describe that a little more?
Sure, I have it in my hand. You can see it's got a track sort of built into the side of the extrusions. It's a 3-sided extrusion. So you mount it to your T-bar, and you have a nice concealed clip that clips into here, and you get a really nice 3-sided soft glow. So when we look back at the picture of our neighbors, actually, this is installed next door, you can see it clips right to the T-bar ceiling and provides a really great line of light with minimal intrusion, actually, to your architecture.
So moving on to the standard profiles, and as you'll see through these slides that we'll make available on the YouTube channel as well, we have marked if a channel works with our static white, static colors, dynamic white, which of course is the warm dim or adjustable white, and dynamic colors, which could be RGB and or RGBW, as well as if it works with dry, damp, wet, or encapsulated applications. So the Slim, which is the smallest of our profiles, the Torque, our most popular profile, Lalo, which is the new low profile flangeless version of Lato, which has been around for a while, which provides a terrific direct view result with a 1-inch cut point. So just slightly deeper than the Slim extrusion, but it's still a very low profile product, and you can get terrific direct view results with Lalo, with the diffuse lens, and the 1-inch cut point product, much better than you can with the Slim. And then the Wide, which has been one of our oldest channels and works very well and takes even the widest RGBW wet tape. As we move forward into the special channels, the Lalo and Talo we talked about. Talo also has the same hidden mounting clip option or T-bar clip as the TRE3. It just does not have the 3-sided finish. The Rond channel, as we discussed, has ridges, and the clip can be applied to those ridges at different points. And I think, Maura, you have an example of that, where we can then.
And I want to remind everybody that
fixture.
In our sample case, this is our typical sample case. So sorry about that. With our yellow handles, I keep it on the board on the table here with me. We have our Vega extrusion, which is what you were just about to talk about, and we show it in the case in both a narrow and a wide angle. So I just wanted to show that. This is our optical lens, basically. This is our option for, current option for optics. Sorry, let me just find the thing. So you can see this is a 15 degree, and you can see that really narrow beam. And the way that we achieve this with the Vega is you specify your product and your beam angle, and then we build it on a mounting tray. So that mounting tray, and I'm going to just turn this up so you can see the ridges inside the extrusion. So the tray then slides into the extrusion. We do this at the factory, by the way. When you call for a certain beam angle, these are constructed at the factory. We do not recommend these be done in the field. This I just made, I believe, a 60, but I'm not exactly sure because there's two ways to mount the thing, but you can certainly see, if I move all this clutter of other things we're talking about, so sorry, the difference in the beam angle. So there's that really, sorry, I gotcha. There's that narrow 15 and that wider beam angle just by the placement of the LEDs in relationship to this optically enhanced acrylic.
And so that is available in 15 through 90 degrees, 5 different options. And without the mounting tray, it creates that very tight 15 degrees. And then we also have our 45-degree extrusions. ARCA, which is a quarter round, very similar to many other people's fixtures, and Tela, which is the same channel with a 90-degree lens, which is incredibly useful, but it also pulls the LEDs further away from the lens, creating more direct view options. And there's the ARCA quarter round right there. And as you notice in the corner of the unit itself, it's hollow, and that can create wire way to go to future fixtures as well. And then all three of these channels have this, including the VB, which is the 45-degree narrow, which uses the universal lenses and the universal mounting clips, same as Torque and Lelo and Lato, etc. And with the 1.5 through 5 watt per foot, you can get a beautiful direct view diode-free finish with a diffuse lens.
And speaking of that universal lens, we're moving towards a universal flat lens. So this fixture, extrusion that's in my hand, has a little bit of a lift to the lens. You can see a little bit of a curve. And
Correct.
This is built to be flat. A little harder to see because I have an end cap on, but believe me when I tell you that this is flat to the extrusion, and this has a little bit of a bump. So that universal flat lens is applicable to quite a few of our extrusions, and that's what Doug was just referring to for the Vive.
So the real key is if you don't have a sample of flat lens today, reach out to your regional sales manager. We'll be more than happy to get you samples of that as well, so you can see for yourself and share with your specifiers. And then we have our Lato and Fleur, our shallow and our deep flanged fixtures, extrusions, which can be recessed. And then we have our mud-in channel, the MDIN. And the MDIN has a 1/10 of an inch reveal, which is supposed to be the ideal amount for your drywall contractors to feather the mud over without having too much or too little on your finished project, creating a beautiful line of light in your wall.
Yeah, and so what we have here is our extraordinarily helpful legication display. This has been here since March. We've been using it here in these demos. So you can see we've built in a mud-in extrusion, and you can see a little bit of a lift to the laminate that was used for the countertop, and that's showing how clean this mud-in can be in that situation where you have those nice edges and you build it right into your architectural detail.
So we're really excited that we've made some of these improvements, including the new flat profiles that Maura was just referring to a moment ago. We're really trying to optimize those transmission levels for you. And we have a universal grazing lens in development, I believe, for the Lelo, Talo, and Torque to begin with. And then we've also made improvements to the end caps, from making sure that they all have the same consistent size hole for wire across all end caps, and a new metallic finish that actually matches the finish of the extrusion even better than before, than the flat finish that
Yeah,
we've
so
had in the
in my
past.
hand, you can see the embossed Q on the metallic finish. This is a torque end cap. Yes, it is. The Wireway, this is for Talo. And then this is a Fleur end cap, and this helps show how it's actually a white, highly reflective white
Yes.
plastic, which is then has the applied metallic. So that's giving you as much, we're really working towards our efficacies by getting as much light out of your fixtures. So that's just a nice little detail.
Absolutely.
I also like the metallic end caps. I think they're pretty.
And it makes it a little less of a dead spot on the end as well.
Right. Yes, absolutely.
And of course, an improved fit to go along with all of it. So as we move on, we have multiple end caps available. You can only select end caps for the channel that you're using them with. And we've broken these out to try and...
To be clear, I'm sorry to interrupt you. I don't want to overcomplicate specifying our channels and extrusions.
Yes.
It's automatic. You're going to get the end caps that go with, but you can't. I think what Doug's just making a point of saying is you can't pick other ones. But
Correct.
you don't have to specify
Correct.
end caps.
But this particular slide shows, that we have standard end cap, standard mounting clips. Excuse me. We have low profile ones, the adjustable for the rond, the hidden or the T-bar clips for the TRE3 and Talo, the mounting clips used with the 45-degree channels, and of course, the VV uses that same low profile clip as well, which is very nice. One of the big differences that Qtran brings to the table, of course, is this lumen multiplier guide. And you can find this around page 8 or 9 on the ordering guide for the LEDs. And this, along with the output, the delivered lumens of the LED strip, you can then take this multiplier and determine what type of delivered output a fixture would have. So if you were using the SW24 5.0 in 3000K, which is somewhere around 465 lumens per foot delivered, and then you could put it in the torque extrusion with the diffuse lens and take that multiplier, and that would give you your delivered lumens as a fixture. A lot of our competition does not publish this type of information. We're trying to make it very easy for you and your customers and clients to determine what they're actually going to receive.
Right. So on the first page of every LED ordering guide is our color temperature selections as well as our initial lumens, and then you take those initial lumens. So that moves us into how do we get the most efficacy out of our products with the extrusions and channels that you're going to specify and build into fixtures. So what I have here is not only the 4 lenses in a black torque, but I have the 4 lenses in a black torque with white optics. So you can see the internal white optics, which is what we're going to talk about next. And here's an empty extrusion, black extrusion, white optics. This is not available on every extrusion, but the ones that it is available on, you'll find on the spec sheets. When you go, like we went through the website before, you saw a torque and it said spec sheet, WO spec sheet, ordering guide, etc. So the ones that this is applicable to will show up on the website. It's a different set of metrics, and it's a different way to get higher efficacy. So I'm going to turn on these two, and this now they're both in clear. So these are the same. These are 2700, 3 watts a foot with all 4 lenses. So you can't really see. Well, actually, I'm sorry, one is white optics and one isn't. So it's a little hard, black on black, to see that one is a little bit less bright than the other because of the clear. The real gain in white optics is in diffused and encapsulated. So what I have over here is 2 fixtures that were built for this presentation. We have them. And you can even see, just taking a look at them non-illuminated, this one has no white optics. You can see against the black how you have a darker interior, and this one has the white optics. So one of these. Can
you point to the one with the white optics by itself, please, for a second more?
The one by itself. This is white optics.
Yeah.
You can see that you can see the difference.
Right.
I hope. Now, one of these, the one with white optics, has 3 watts a foot LED tape in it, and the one without white optics is 5 watts a foot in black. So what we're about to show, and we can go back to the slide for the math, is that the two fixtures, although different consumption, have equal output. And that's completely because the 3 watts a foot has the added boost of the white optics, and the 5 watts is just in black. So where this gains you is significantly is in your LPDs, if you're really worried about your watts per foot, which plenty of people are. But let's go ahead and look at the slide, because that shows a little more of the math, I think. Exactly.
Absolutely does.
But it's definitely going to show you where your gain is. So over a big project, if you can use 3 watts a foot with white optics rather than 5 watts a foot without, you're going to save in power supplies. And that's really going to help you with your density levels, your consumption levels, and your overall efficiencies.
You're also going to save on power supplies as well more. So you're going to use 40% fewer power supplies on a large job as well. Available in Arca, Tela, Torque, Fleur, and Lato. And one other thing to point out is, can we go back to that previous slide real quick, please? Notice that in the center area, Torque white optics, in satin, we have 270 delivered lumens per foot, and in black, we have 256. Versus without, on the left, it's 245 versus 168. So the other thing that white optics has done is it has leveled the field between satin and black in delivered lumens, putting them in the same ballpark, which means that they can be more easily used in the same output in the same application if you had the need for different finished extrusion. So moving on, as we talk about the how to build the part numbers. As you can see, you can select your finish, your mounting, your lens, and then we ask you for a type, a fixture type. And we have our single, our pass-throughs, and our not installed. And the next slide does a really nice job of explaining this, because a single is input only. Pass-through is input and output. And then not installed is where we do not install any LEDs in the factory. It is strictly for field installation. So when you want a field installation, please make sure that NI is used on the purchase order.
Right. And as you take a look at this slide, and we're going to have to bounce through this pretty quickly because we still have some accessories to get to. When you're specifying your products, this is not meant to be a burden. This is a feature. A lot of our extrusions have the ability to be wired differently than other folks' extrusions. And so you can go S1 or P1 all day long, and then when you get your details on your architecturals and you want to change it, that's fine. It's only when we're building it. It does not impact your cost or your specification. So let's move through, and we have different connectors and different wires. We are introducing a new wire. It's not ready yet, but it will be soon. You'll see it on the Verse spec sheets right now, and that will be coming out shortly, this quarter, soon. And a new connector. And then what do we have next? Accessories.
We have our CLP and SNP connectors that Phil talked about with you last week, Maura.
Yep.
And as you can see from what I'm holding up in my hand, the larger unit is the CLP connector. It does not fit in most channels, and the smaller unit is the SNP. And this does fit most extrusions, except for this limb.
Right.
And Maura, you have them there in your hand as well.
I do. I have them. It's a solderless connection point, right? You peel back your tape, you get it into your connector, and you literally pinch down, snap down. And as Doug said, this is an external connection. It won't fit in our extrusions, and this can be an internal to extrusions, the SNP.
And one thing I just do want to point out is that the SNP does work on most of the 2 watt per foot 2-inch cut point products as well, up to 6 watts per foot.
It does.
So then we have our adjustable mounting brackets. We have our Q-angle, which is a cast anodized aluminum bracket with a hollow base, 7 different lockable positions, and it just simply snaps right on using the standard mounting clips that come with the fixture. And then we have our much smaller Q-pivot bracket, which is for indoor use only. It's made of steel and can be adjusted all the way to 90 degrees. The Q Mini J is a low voltage lighting miniature junction box. Except from number 14 to number 22 low voltage wire, it's UL listed with multiple patents from Qtran and can be mounted in multiple different ways. But the most important part is it replaces the need for a much larger junction box or really long runs of lead wire that create voltage drop. So this is a voltage drop avoidance tool. In the previous presentations, especially direct burial, we talked about our Q wire, wire for both direct burial and landscape wire above ground, but it can even be used within the walls. We can get more details on that for you in the previous YouTube videos or by contacting us. And we also have the watertight fittings that go along with it, which is Q-CLIK watertight fittings. Available in machine screw thread, national pipe taper, and the inserts that go with it to keep them watertight.
So these are all on our accessories page, and they relate to our Q Vault and our Q sets. That's what they are used with, but they are some of our really inventive accessories that we have come up with. And I think we're coming up with some new stuff, aren't we, Doug?
Yeah, absolutely. So we're really excited to tell you about KOVA, an indirect Cove solution that's coming very soon. Works with drywall from 1/4 inch to 5/8 of an inch. Works with most Qtran fixtures and the Verse linear fixtures. And we'll have inline and corner connectors. And this product, as we said, is coming soon and will help you create some very unique Cove solutions. Extremely excited to bring this to you because you could put an encapsulated fixture in there. You could put a wet rated fixture in there. It really doesn't matter. The Cove solution is not dependent on its own fixture. It's dependent on what you want to put in it.
Right. And that will be releasing soon. We'll have a more in-depth video to talk about it and show you some samples. We do have some engineering prototypes, but they're not really ready for prime time yet. With that, I believe we are at the question slide. So we know we went a little over. Thanks for sticking with us. We are going to stick around. We are on a little bit of a delay, so our tech team at the tech table is going to read the chat function to us and let us know if any questions have come up through this presentation. Gentlemen?
So we'll go in reverse order. Is there a matrix of what extrusions and the small clips work with one another?
Oh, and I'm sure, did you hear, Gian? Do I have to repeat the question? Okay, great. So there is not currently a matrix of which extrusions and which of these clamp down connectors work with which, but this PowerPoint will also be made available with the recording. We do the recordings and publish the PowerPoints. So there is a slide that we built for this presentation, which will tell you which tape goes in which connector.
Well, and what extrusion?
Oh, and which extrusion. That, I think it's on the slide. Doug definitely said it out loud.
It's not on the slide by the extrusion, Maura. However, it should fit in all extrusions except slim for the SMP.
This guy, right.
But we should have a compatibility.
We will take a note and get a compatibility chart going for that.
Yes.
What else
Absolutely.
we got?
Could you clarify KOVA is not a standalone product? Did you clarify that?
I think so.
Meaning, that when you specify KOVA, when we release KOVA, it will be released with a light engine as well. Is that what you're saying?
The extrusion would fit into
Yeah, the
KOVA.
extrusion will fit into the KOVA. The KOVA is not an extrusion. The KOVA is an extrusion for an extrusion. It's a mounting for an extrusion.
The KOVA is a mounting solution for indirect coves.
To clarify, white optics means that the inside of the extrusion has white finish, yes.
Yeah, the clarification about White Optics is that we apply, White Optics is a company that was recently procured by a large conglomerate, but we have an exclusive agreement for the application of this reflective paint for 2 inches and less. Is that our agreement? So we work with this company, and it is an applied paint to the interior.
Wet rated product and a grazer, and that is something that we're working on currently.
Yes, so the question is, do we have a wet rated grazer? If you go ahead and take a peek at our versatile line of fixtures, there is an option for wet in our graze, and we are working on more options for wet grazing opportunities.
And when will
So I also believe that with the universal grazing lens that we have in development, we'll be offering more wet rated tape in certain extrusions.
Right, correct. And the next question was, when will KOVA be ready? And the answer is?
by July?
By July. Thank you all so much. We really appreciate your time, and we hope everyone's staying
Thank you very
safe.
much.
And thanks for supporting QTran. We appreciate it. Thank you.